Welcome back to the Business Storytelling course. I hope you are finding it useful, helpful, and I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am. And in this module, I'm going to focus on handling difficult presentations and handling situations when storytelling goes wrong. And I'm going to touch on three ideas: preparation, honesty, and the power of building relationships. When it comes to handling difficult presentations, difficult situations, there is no better vaccine, there is no better medicine than the one that you take before the problem arises: preparation. The more prepared you are, the more confident you will feel on the day, and the more comfortable you will feel when, if something goes wrong. Because if something goes wrong, and in addition to that problem, you have to worry about remembering your own story, you are in deep trouble. So prepare. Preparing is, I would say, 51% of your success as a presenter, as a storyteller. Some will say that you have to go through your material 15 times. Some will say that you have to go through your material, through your story 5 times. I will say go through your material as many times as you need to feel comfortable, to feel excited, and to feel ready. And 5 seems like a safe, healthy, and realistic number of times to rehearse before you go live, whether it's online or offline. So the best way to handle difficult situations is to avoid them by being prepared. Secondly, honesty. And I mean honesty on two levels. First level, honesty related to the story you're telling. Ideally, the story you're telling, whether it's yours, your employer's, or somebody else's, should be true. It could be a made up story if it helps you make your point, if it helps you get your point across, and if it helps you persuade, influence, sell, or whatever it may be that you want to achieve. So it could be a made up story, but if someone challenges you on the spot, if someone is in disagreement with what you say or unhappy with your story for whatever reason, it will be far easier for you to defend yourself if needed, or to set the record straight, or to move on swiftly and professionally if the story you're telling is a true one, and ideally if you know it from your own experience. In other words, if it's your own story or the publisher you work for. So that's the first dimension of honesty when it comes to storytelling. Make sure that it's true, and if it's not, make sure that it's well rehearsed and it helps you make your point, and it's relevant to the audience's expectations. So honesty when it comes to the content. Whatever happens during your storytelling exercise, whatever happens during your presentation, your meeting, your performance, stick to the story you've chosen. No matter how bad it gets, stick to the story. If need be, bring the meeting or the presentation to an end sooner than expected. But stick to the story, because if you decide when feeling under pressure that you're going to change your story or move to a different one only because someone has presented you with a challenge or a disagreement, then you will lose credibility, and that's not the objective. So make sure it's real and stick to it, no matter what happens. The other degree, the other dimension of the other the other degree, the other dimension of honesty is related to questions the audience may have for you regarding your story, your presentation, your message. If you ever get a question that you don't know the answer to, it's okay. And it's okay to say, I don't know the answer to this question. And I would recommend to go further and say, I don't know the answer to this question, and I find that I want to know the answer to this question, and I'm going to look into it for you, and I will get back to you. When you promise someone that you're going to get back to them, you need to be precise about when, in the next 24 hours, within the week, next month, and how. An email, a telephone call, a message on social media, or a follow-up meeting. But whatever it may be precise about timing and method. Above all, be honest if you don't know the answer to a question when you're telling a story, when you're making a pitch, making a case, sharing a story. And I'm now going to summarize. And it's time for me to summarize those key components of handling difficult presentations when storytelling goes wrong. Preparation is number one, and honesty is number two. I'm going to add a third one because I've just remembered that I said to you that I was going to cover three elements in this module, and that's the power of building relationships. And what that means is having a difficult experience with storytelling and having a difficult situation when presenting gives you an opportunity to build relationships with your audience, gives you an opportunity to learn the lesson, gives you an opportunity to edit, adapt, polish, and improve your performance and your stories, and then get back to them in the future with an improved version of your story, your message, your pitch. So if something goes wrong and you feel disappointed, upset, or annoyed with yourself, I understand. I've been there. And don't worry, this is an opportunity to go back to your audience. It may be a group of people you work with, it may be an external client, or it may be something you're trying to do business with or collaborate with. The difficult situation, the failed story, if you like, gives you an opportunity to go back to them and build that relationship for the better, for the future. During my time with Ingram, I had one of those myself. I was trying to get a deal with an Irish consortium for book sales, and the story I was telling in my pitch, in my presentation, didn't go well. I was challenged with questions and clarifications I didn't have an answer to. And the step I took following that moment of challenge was to get on a plane to Dublin, meet the customer face to face 3 weeks later, and address those questions and those doubts in person with the information I needed and with an improved a refined and a more precise and more useful for both of us, a more useful story. So I know from experience that you can learn from difficult situations, from stories that are not quite ready yet, but can be. So practice, don't give up, and use failed stories or difficult presentations as an opportunity to grow and build relationships. And that's precisely the task I'm giving you now at the end of this module to work on. Obviously, you will have to wait until you find yourself in one of those situations, or you may have had one recently. Either case, whenever you find yourself in that situation, take a stock of what happened, improve the story with new information, with additional information and additional preparation, and go back to the boss, the colleague, the client, or the partner you are trying to do business with that better version of the story.